Okay, so hello guys, and today we're back in this new segment of giving you the insights that are actually going to be trending for the whole day in different assets, including Bitcoin, um, Forex, different currency pairs, and today is actually a Thursday, 3rd of March, in 2022. And we're going to be looking at different coins and different pairs of currencies and how they are going to be transpiring for the whole day, and such that we can give you a very good picture, a big picture of what you have to trade. For example, if you're dealing with Bitcoin, you're going to be focusing on downtrends or uptrends for the whole day. So I think let's start off, and we shall begin with Bitcoin. I know most of you love Forex, but let me just begin with Bitcoin. Later we shall dive into Forex pairs one by one. So this is my system. I like analyzing on the basis of 12-hour interval, also 8-hour interval, and we shall also be using the 4-hour interval. So when you switch on to the 4-hour interval here, 8 hours here, this is a 12-hour. Let me first close all the trends so that you can see very well and we focus. Okay, so according to what we have here in our system, we have a total here zigzag 100 in red being supported by a zigzag 100 in the 8-hour interval in red, and being supported by another zigzag 100 in 4-hour interval being red. So red color here represents a downtrend. So basically, without any further notice, it shows that Bitcoin might a little bit go into a downtrend for probably a couple of hours, probably 8 hours for today. So in the first 8 hours, I would advise you to first focus on only downtrends, and later we shall see how changes will be transpiring in the same coin. But as for now, please just focus on the downtrends. In a few hours, probably 8 hours, we shall be back to analyze how they will be changing. So as per now, you can see the infiltration has already entered at the 4-hour interval, and it is shifting to the 8-hour interval. That's the downward infiltration, you can call it trend. So we are anticipating that it will be shifting to the 12-hour interval. So apart from that, we also have more evidence that shows that Bitcoin is going to be falling probably for the next couple of hours. Then we shall analyze again and see whether it has changed course or direction according to what has been said as per now. So let's look at 2-hour interval. Probably can give us a very clear image of how and where Bitcoin is moving. So you can see clearly in 2-hour interval that we have a full infiltration of a downtrend in 2-hour interval in Bitcoin. So this full infiltration really shows that we are heading into a downtrend, or at least we're gonna be having this a downtrend at least of about in a couple of hours, 2 to 4 to 8 hours, and therefore you have to stay put. You know that we have so much power going down in Bitcoin today. So probably if you see it doing, falling into prices and the coin, so you shouldn't be surprised. After knowing this, you should be prepared and prepare your mind that if you see a downtrend taking on, don't even ask any question, just look for an entry point and enter. I've already made my profits right away. At the first time it opened, I made my profits and went out of the trend. So that's Bitcoin. Maybe for more analysis, I will be representing every single time interval alone to make sure that we analyze it even more. So if you look at 12-hour interval alone, from as a small system, middle system, and a big system. From about 2 to 15 shows that it has been in uptrend, but it has also surpassed the middle system up to the 38. Also 38 has crossed, so everyone is on top. So having that, also we have the big system having 40 to have crossed. So probably if you're to head into an uptrend here, we would wait for about 42 to cross, and if 42 crosses to the above section and is supported by any other part from the down system, we would be heading into an uptrend. But I guarantee you, as it transitions from this middle system to the big system, it kind of experiences a resistance that pushes it back into a negative direction for some couple of hours. So that's why we're saying that within a few hours, or probably 2 to 4 to 8 hours, we shall be heading into a downtrend, a good downtrend. So that said, and also being at the extreme end means that we are at the peak. So if we are to make any further more uptrend, it's not going to be making so big uptrends unless otherwise, but we have that resistance that will be pushing us back into a downtrend. So that's Bitcoin. Let's analyze something else now. I think we switch off direct to I would not analyze the rest of the coins because they tend to follow the Bitcoin. So whatever Bitcoin is going to do, all these coins, probably most of them will be doing the same thing. So I wouldn't like to dive in. Maybe later I will just come around and we talk about the Binance Chain, Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Neo, Mega, Dash, and Tology, and the rest, and the Polkadot. But as per now, let's head over into Forex. Then after Forex, we shall come back for stocks. So Forex, whereas most of you do Forex, so let's start with the most, or the favorite one, most loved pair, Euro USD. We just switch it on and see how it's gonna be moving today. Okay. Oh my god, Euro USD looks to be at the peak. It looks to be at the bottom, not the peak. When we are down, as in down, made a downtrend to the down levels, we call it a bottom. Then when we are up at the extreme top, we call it the peak. So Euro USD looks to be at the bottom. Almost everyone has crossed. That's in 12 hour. So what does this mean? It means that probably in a couple of days we will be seeing an uptrend, or some force pushing this up into an uptrend. But as per now, we still have a solid market, and once you have a solid market, yes, you might experience some force pushing you back. Once that now we are already at the bottom, so you just have to wait for a few more hours for a more clear signal, probably from this guy here, who is a zigzag 100. If he comes here, gives you he would actually be the one to open the uptrend. Once he changes the color to green, he will be opening the uptrend, and therefore you can enter. You can actually use him as an entry point, no problem. You enter and make profit. Now, but before that, if he hasn't come and he's still in red, and is still supported by 60 here, also in red, it's only 38 that is actually not supporting it. But that means that we still have some big force that is going down, but it is yet at its bottom, and anytime we're going to be reversing. So as per now, Euro USD, I don't advise you to enter a downtrend, neither do I advise you to enter an uptrend. So just have to stay put, stay updated. We shall be analyzing it in the next 4 hours and see how it's transpiring, whether it has gotten more power to change. So we shall be doing all this analysis on a 4-hour basis interval. Okay, so that's all for Euro USD. Probably you can just analyze it in 8 hours. You can see what is happening in 8 hours. You never know, the infiltration has already started. Yeah, you can see the infiltration in 8 hours has already started, but hasn't reached 12 hour. This also switched to 4 hours, and you see, yes, the infiltration has already started in 4 hours. So just like I said, all this infiltration is actually inviting a green here. Probably maybe if you've not implemented the zigzag strategy and the full strategy here, and maybe probably you're new here, you don't know what you're doing, I would advise you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also look for more other videos on this channel. Try to watch. I've done so many videos of this setup. You can also do it on your own on your computer. So here we have some indicators showing that we've already started changing into heading over into an uptrend. So anytime probably we'll be heading in an uptrend. So we can just enter this one since it is a Forex has no problem. You can just enter, and we shall be putting an auto close or take profit of about 100%. Yeah, 100% would be enough. Good to go. So by the time it changes trend to about this level, we'll be making our 100%. Okay, that's all for Euro USD. Let's also analyze some other pair. I've also realized most of the traders like Audi USD. Just switch to Audi USD and we see how it will be transpiring for the next couple of hours. This guy is already in profits. Euro USD. Oh my god. Anyways, he's gonna be making probably losses in a couple of more hours. Then he will be turning into an uptrend. That's when we'll be making substantial profits for the rest of the day, or even probably tomorrow, by tomorrow. Okay, so this is our Audi USD. Now what do you have here? What do you have? Okay, so according to 12-hour interval, we still have a 100 in green. We have all the supporters supporting into an uptrend, which is kind of good. And you see, 8-hour interval still 100 in green. You have a supporter there for interval, also 100 in green, and you have full support. Okay, so under that you have the iron is kind of relaxed a little bit in our 4-hour interval, showing that there is a slowdown in the uptrend, but probably if they get back on their knees up there, and this solid market is actually obviously inviting them to get back on their knees and enter an uptrend again. So we will be hoping that Audi USD is still going up. It's actually still going up for more couple of hours, probably 4 hours. So we shall be coming back after 4 hours, but it's still going up. It has been going up for a long time now, which actually means that we might be heading over for a peak. But again, you have to first check and see whether we are at the peak exactly for 12-hour interval. Yes, actually we are heading into a peak because all this has crossed the middle system and switched to the upper system, and also has 40, 50, and 44, 48, and also 60 crossing. So what does this mean? It really means that we are actually at the peak. Sorry to say this, but we are at the peak. Once you switch the big trend or the big system, then you're playing at the peak. Yes, you can still make a trend there, an uptrend, but with consciousness, knowing that you're at the peak. Anytime you could be falling into a downtrend, so you have to trade this. Once you have a signal, you can enter, but just know you're playing at the peak, and they don't advise you to enter trends when they are just playing around at their peaks. Okay, that's Euro USD. Audi USD. Let's move on to Audi JAP. It's actually my favorite. I just like its confidence, its stability, and it has some good movement. Now Audi USD has just reached the peak. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, everyone crossed at this point and they made a lot of profits. That was probably tomorrow. I was in this trend too. I made over 100%, 430 something percent. I entered around this point here and left around this point here. So anyways, Audi Jap is at the peak. Actually, he just went to the peak. I think that was yesterday. That's when he reached the peak. So probably today would be continuing into an uptrend, but an uptrend that is not guaranteed. Just like I said, if a currency, or a currency pair or a coin is at the peak or at the bottom, it's not good to continue trading it in that same direction, because anytime it can reverse, and when it reverses, if something at the peak reverses to the bottom, it might take like a couple of weeks to come back, which is not bad for Forex, but that will mean that you'll be a bad trader. You're not anticipating very well. You don't have a system that checks peaks and bottoms. So in your system, in your strategy, you must have a part that identifies whether you're at the peak or at the bottom. So that's very, very important. I'll be making another video telling you about what you have to consider in every strategy, or even before entering any trend. So probably in a couple of hours I will be unveiling another video about that, and we shall see what you have to consider before entering any trend. Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, still have some few minutes, probably 4 minutes. Let's proceed to Euro GPB or USD JAP. Which one should we go for? Euro. Okay, let's go for that one. Forex. This. Okay, so this pair here is actually still has some time to go. Okay, it's actually done with the middle system, because it was heading into a downtrend, and it seems like everyone has crossed already. Okay, so now we anticipate that it will be heading over into the upper system. So the crossing here will start with 40, crossing into the upper section. If he's supported, we'll be making a very good downtrend, adding even a more, a bar into a more downtrend here. But unfortunately, what I wanted to tell you about is that once you're transitioning from the middle system to the upper system, we normally experience what is called a resistance into a negative direction. In this case, the negative direction is an uptrend. So if I'm not on the wrong side, transitioning here might push back this pair Euro GPB into a back uptrend. So probably, I don't know, anyways, but that's my prediction according to my system. If you happen to follow it very well, we'll be having very good predictions and very good results. So let's move on. Okay, so now let's move on to another currency pair, USD JAP. Let's see how USD JAP is moving. Okay. Let me see. When did you last have a zigzag or zigzag? 100 is still in red. But as per what we have here, all other zigzag 60, zigzag 38, and zigzag 7, they're all in green, showing that they are heading over into an uptrend. Okay, so which is not bad. But if you look at the infiltration in 12 hour, it has kind of been let me see where here. It has kind of been heading over into an uptrend, downtrend, and right now it's actually heading over into bottoms, and as we said, have a 40 here crossing, meaning that it has started experiencing a bigger. So this uptrend is actually a reaction to the transition from a middle system to a bigger system. When you're transitioning here, I'm just repeating it. Once you have is it 38? 38 is the last arrow to cross here. Once it crosses and you're waiting for a 40 to cross, there is it tends to have some kind of a resistance to the negative direction. So that's the reaction that produces these two bars that are actually taking you in the uptrend. So that's why I was actually predicting in the other previous currency pair. So for today, we might still see USD JAP going up. If no one crosses here to be supported by this, we shall still be going up for a couple of hours. So we shall be reviewing again after 4 hours and to tell you how far it's going to be changing, whether it's going down or up. So the rest of the pairs, maybe USD card, you can do USD card. I don't know whether the stocks are open. I'll have to check the stocks. If they're open, we can try to analyze and see which companies prices or shares are going up and which ones are going down. So according to the USD card, what we have here, we actually have USD card is heading over into a downtrend, but the downtrend has actually hit the bottom, or it's hitting the bottom. Actually, it's heading over into the bottom. It has transitioned from here to here. Just so you can see the transition producing uptrend. But finally, we had a 42, a 50, and a crossing, and they were supported, and that's why we actually headed over into another downtrend. But right now we are now hitting the bottom, so at this time you have to be very conscious. We might be heading over into an uptrend, so that's why let me just enter it and see how far it's going to be taking us. So let me just give it a probably a 20%, and we will be closing it, I'm sure, by the end of the day. Okay, this is Euro USD. It's actually hit profits again. Anyways, let's continue. Let me check on stocks if they have opened. If they haven't, we shall be. Oh my god, stocks are not yet open. They are opening in 13 hours. So that's all for today, analyzing crypto and forex. Binance, just like I said, all these other coins, they end up following the Bitcoin. That's of course according to my research. In my experience, I don't know what's your experience, but mine is that, oh my god, Binance has an entry point into an uptrend. Okay, at least a very basic uptrend. So you can enter Binance and give him, let me see, probably 30% will be enough for him. Okay, 39, just apply. Okay, he's actually heading over into an uptrend. He has an entry. So I think that's all for today, guys. That's all for today. We're gonna be doing this same time, same day, tomorrow. Oh my god, Euro USD is already in profits, just like I anticipated. So for people who take like 5%, 10% per day, probably it will be closing you very fast. Or if you're taking 20% or 30% or 50%, it will be closing you on the next bar, which is actually in a couple of 2-3 hours. So that's all, guys. That's all I had for you today. I'll be making another video about what you have to consider and what you have to first look at before entering any trade. So you can like the video, share, subscribe to get even more updates, and I'll see you next.